Welcome back, everybody, to another Digital Gate Studios production. Jeff.
Hey.
It's the first deck profile of the format with me in this chair, so I think that dictates something, right?
Yeah, it's like your signature. It's like your tradition at this point.
Machine's back.
Machine is back yet again.
And oh, is it back? We have so many updates for this deck. This isn't going to be like an update series deck. This deck kind of got completely reworked with a lot of the new tools that we got in this BT-11 toolbox that we got. So let's just jump into it. A couple things didn't change. Actually, there's some similarities, obviously. So our eggs didn't change. We're sticking with the black package. So we're going Pagus. Not much to say about that other than it just helps you draw, right? Helps you get the black pieces you need for your machine. So we're going to skim through some of the staples here. Obviously, we're going to be running 4 of the Hagurumons. I don't think that's ever going to change.
Too good of a card.
Yep, too bad of an art, but too good of a card. Yeah, I know, right? Give me an alt art of that card. I'm going to say it every time we do one of these profile videos until they change. We switched up our level 3s, our secondary level 3s. We were running Chumons in the last format.
That's right.
That was pretty important in the last format, I think. But I think in this format, when you're dealing with those big stacks, those big bodies, the fact that Black or Gray can only protect itself from D-Digivolve for one turn, we are going to go with the Curries. This is also good against Grandis and kind of a slew of other things like Bloom Lords, Hydras, stuff that likes to swing and needs to stay the level 6 that it is.
Yeah.
Very good card. I don't think anybody needs to know what that card does. Good security bomb. We love it. We're still sticking with the 3. I'm going to move down a little bit. 3 Mechanorimons. We're going to keep rocking those as our level 4s. I know people are going to say, hey, play that Guardramon. I will not. I don't like it. That's a different style of machine, which we get in this format, right? You can build that Digivolving stack now with that new machine.
Right.
I'm not sold on that machine yet as far as building an entire deck around it.
Yeah.
We can get into that a little bit when we get to the 6s. So that's it for our level 2s, 3s, and 4s. So not too crazy of a... I don't think that changed at all except for the Chikuris.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get into our 2-ofs of the cyborgs. This is the meat and potatoes of the Machinedramon deck, is what cyborgs do you use? And a little spoiler, I went up in my cyborgs.
You did. You went up.
And for good reason. So we are going to start with our 2-ofs. These are pretty self-explanatory. I still think the biggest, most important thing to do is make your machine a blocker. Super, super important. So we have 4 cards that do that in this deck. You definitely want to run the 2 and 2 because when you do make your big machine, you do have to put independent sources or the Chaosdramon. Here's the first new addition to the deck. As far as from the new set, we have the generic rebooter, the Gigadramon. This card is a menace, and it totally changed up what I did with my level 7s in this deck. Very, very good. It's also really cool because when you do your machine, you get to organize that stack of inheritables however you want. This is always one that I put right under the machine because if they do strip your source, you have a jammer on board.
Yeah. If you get D-Digivolved, all of a sudden you've got a jamming from that ability.
Yeah,
so.
with the inheritables.
Yep.
You could have a jammer with security tech +1, +2. Very, very good. And then we're going to jump into the best card in the deck, probably still.
Best card in a lot of people's decks.
Yeah. Yeah. So obviously, if you play against Black or Gray, you know what this card does too. This is the Swing at Anything card. Not a whole lot to say there other than it also has a very good when Digivolving. So if you do, there are a lot of times where you do Digivolve on top of the Mechanorimon in this deck. This is a really cool one because you do get to D-Digivolve and pop a small body with it. And of course, the Inheritable's broken. Lets you swing it unsuspended all you want. So to pair with that is the best card in this set, arguably, for Machinedramon. And that is our new green cyborg. We have Geen in the machine now. The Metal Tyrannomon. And there were things about this card that I didn't even know it did until, and I'll get into that in the level 7s, but the fact that when you delete a Digimon in battle, you get to trash top of their security. So it kind of changes the way that this deck plays.
Yeah.
So if you ever think that you need to put piercing in this deck, now you really don't. Because now you can trash a card when you kill something without risking your entire game state. So if you have piercing in there, take it out. You don't need it. Put this card in. Put 2 of this card in. This card is amazing. Because what it also does is when you block and you survive, or the redirect, you also get to trash their security on their turn. So it's an all turns thing. I did not know that card did. For some reason, I was under the impression that it was just on your turn when you initiate the battle, but no, when you block.
Great card.
Yeah, very, very
Great
good.
card.
So that's it for the 2-ofs. So we double down on the blocker. We have 2 reboots. You could argue to put one of the Metal Tyrannos in if you wanted to. So you have the 3 reboots with 2 unique card number sources. That also has a good one, Digivolving, same as the Andromon, which lets you search for your level 6s. This deck does a pretty good job drawing, though, and you don't have to have it because, like I said, you don't Digivolve on that very often.
Yeah.
So let's get into some 1-ofs. We like the 1-ofs, right?
We do. This deck has a lot of it.
Yeah, so if we're going to swing into stuff, we want to make us bigger, right? So we do have the 2K Machinedramon. It is also a nice 6-cost hard play. With the introduction of the Chaos Dramon, really left this deck more versatile in the way that you make your big machine, because the old Chaos Dramon was terrible. So the new one is great because you can Digivolve on top of this, and you still give yourself 2 layers of protection from deletion or bouncing.
Yeah,
so
really
very,
important.
very good. And you de-Digivolve 3, your opponent. So better than 2K, say it every time. 3K, so we have awesome, pretty much the same thing. Also, if you can't get the Jammer as the one right under your Machinedramon, throw that right under your Machinedramon, and you might be able to swing for 3 checks. I mean, you do lose 5 memory, but there is a lot of stuff in this deck that gives you memory. So it's not super uncommon that you do start your turn with 5 memory, so you're able to swing. And if you have, this Machinedramon under this Metal Greymon, you're swinging for 11k 3 checks. Pretty cool.
Rad.
Pretty cool. And generic reboot. Really cool. Okay. We're going to jump into this Machinedramon. Security attack +1 if you're a machine, but that's not the best part of this card. The best part of this card is the on play, and I use it all the time, and I've told Jeff 1,000 times that every time I try and take this card out, I wish I had it, so it always stays in my deck. Deletes 2 3Ks or less on play. Very, very good against Bloom Lords, people trying to play their Chumons, Jakurimons, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Terriermons, anything to
try to counter your deck.
Very, very cool. Even I found it really good against Nightmons, stuff where they're trying to set up to do some crazy stuff with their level 3s. Super cool card. I used to use it against Calumons a lot too.
Yeah.
So security attack +1 if you're a machine. Now we have security attack +1 if you are anything. So we got a good generic security attack +1, and he's a blocker, big 9k blocker. So very cool. So I found that this is a good card. If you want to keep your board state the way it is by having a blocker, you can go and you only have the Chaos Dramon in hand. Yeah. You can always Digivolve this for 4 on top of the Machinedramon. You still have that game state blocker where you can stop one attack and then be ready to go into that level 6. Back down to one of the Metal Greys. This is still a super good card. I still think it's super viable in the format. Just like we were talking about with the Chaos Dramon, if you have a Tamer out, which you pretty much always do, it's only a 5-drop, as long as they don't have a memory denier on board. Very good card when you delete one of your opponent's Digimon, Metal Tyranno, Metal Greymon. You get the gist of it. On your turn, you gain a memory. Metal Mame, very good card. Also has that when Digivolving. Find the level 6 you need. When you swing, you delete a 5-cost or less, so very cool. Also pops little bodies. A lot of this is a very control deck.
Yeah, it is.
Very control deck, especially now that you have this Metal Tyrannomon and you have the new Tamer. It's more about getting the board to where you want it to be and then really punishing your opponent for trying to attack you. So now we have some spicy last 2 level 5. So we're up to 18 or 19 cyborgs now, and I was at 16. Really wanted to create that consistency, but there is also a new little flavor in the deck.
Yeah.
And I kind of took inspiration from the best card in the format. I figure can't beat them, join them, right?
Yeah.
So this caught a lot of people off guard in our last couple tournaments. It is a lot of fun. So we are running the Metal Greymon X Antibody.
Ooh, it is a cyborg, isn't it?
It is a cyborg. Now you're
you
thinking,
never think of that as a cyborg.
Right. You're thinking, well, you're not Dragonkin.
Yeah.
No, but I have level 7s that will let me activate this. So when when a Digimon unsuspends, whether it's reboot or anything else on your opponent's turn, I get to trash your security.
Yeah, and now you have reboot.
Yes. Such a good card. And then to go along with that is okay, Elephant in the Room. I'm playing Omnimons. So I guess there's no teasing it, or else these cards aren't going to make sense. So some issues we had before with playing Omnimons was the fact that you'd want to do your swinging, and as soon as you Digivolved into that Omnimon, you would lose your reboot because all you had was the Metal Tyranno from EX1.
Yeah.
and you weren't a machine anymore, so you didn't get the reboot. So you weren't protected, right? So they were able to do all kinds of stuff. But now you have a generic reboot. So if they're going to try and delete your Omnimon, they can't just swing at it, right? So they have to try and either like delete it with a kill spell or try and return it to hand or deck. Well, now there's this awesome, I guess this promo's been out for a little bit, but not being able to reboot, like they would just swing into it with something else, something bigger. So now they can't do that, so they have to delete it with an effect. Well, this Alteris mode prevents that. You can use, it pretty much gives the machine survivability, that mechanic where you trash 2 sources, pretty much gives that to the Omnimon, which is
good.
really cool.
Which is great for your level 7s.
Absolutely. So that's kind of the spice for the deck. That's kind of what we're doing with this format. Those are my cyborgs. So getting into the man himself, the man of the hour, we're playing 4 of the machines. We love the machine. He's here. So, that's kind of an obvious 4 of, right? That's what we're doing.
The core of your deck, right?
It is, but I also found in this format, playing all these cyborgs, that you really do need to go up to 4 of the Chaosdramons as well. I know that that's kind of an unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
But I found myself always still looking for those level 6s, even though this deck does so much drawing. Like you'll have cyborgs in your hand regardless, and sometimes you do have to hard play them. If you don't have the Chaosdramon, when you do end up clogging with these or digivolving on top, then you're stuck, because digivolving a Machinedramon is borderline useless.
Yeah.
Like it's decent, but if you're digivolving, you typically will not have a 2-stack underneath it to survive.
Correct.
So you pretty much digivolve the machine to draw, or you digivolve the machine onto a de-digivolved machine stack. That's the only real reason that you need to do that. So the Chaosdramon gives you outs, which is the most important thing, especially considering our level 7s are so menacing. You definitely want to have a level 6 out whenever you can. So when you draw, this is where it defeats, and you want to delete their tamers.
Or defeat. Okay,
Very, very
great
good.
card.
Yeah, like I said, you have all of these new inheritables that help you. They're generic now, so they're not so tied to being a machine. You can actually use this top end to be lethal, and having the Metal Greymon X antibody underneath this still activates because it is an Omnimon.
It's an Omnimon, yep.
It gives them a reason to have to try and get rid of this. Well, you have prevention from them getting rid of it, or if they do manage to get rid of it by deletion, you get to pop one of their bodies too.
Crazy.
Not to mention, it does this really cool thing in security when it happens.
Yeah.
And it just plays.
Comes a good body on board, yep.
So for our final Digimon, we're playing 1 Omnimon X antibody. So this came back to mind after we were talking with some of our buddies playing at Nats, talking about the Black War Gray on Black War Gray, like how do they survive the mirror match? What do you do, or what do they do against Grandis and stuff like that? This card is so good on big stacks. It digivolves for 6 off the Chaosdramon, 3 off the Omnimon. It can't go directly on the machine, but chances are you're going to get one of these 6 cards out on your matches. It's really great, and it's a 15k security bomb, so it's a really good card. Let's get into the man of the hour. So this is the card. This is the I told you so, Jesse, time for everyone. All right, Analog Man's a good card. It's a good card. I'm not going to say it's not anymore. It's a really good card. After doing so much playtesting, I ran a 1 of, and every time I got it, I was like, okay, this is a really good card.
Yeah, like I want more.
And it's mostly because I thought my initial concept was their preconception was that this Metal Tyranno was only on your turn, but it's not. So you can redirect their level 3s or whatever into your big stack and trash their security with the Analog Man. So really good. You also get to draw 1 card, gain some memory. As long as you don't run this as your only memory gain in the deck, I think it's a really good addition.
Yeah.
I still run 2 Qs because you need to be that 3-setter, and it draws you a ton of cards.
It does, especially after you used your hand on the Chaosdramon and the Machinedramon.
Yeah, you're
whatever.
typically always grabbing big chunks of cards until you're in late game, right? But early game, you are draining your hand like crazy if you play a Machinedramon by like turn 3 or 4. Or the Chaosdramon, you're not replenishing those cards. So very, very good. And then my last tamer that I adds a little bit of draw. Especially since you're going to be using this Analog Man, people are going to be kind of going wider. So it's a good 2 memory gain. That's pretty consistent, I would say, in this format. I mean, obviously you have like your Black War Gray and your Grandis stack that just kind of build up to 1 body, but with your Analog Man, and you're able to redirect and stop attacks with the X antibody and stuff like that. I think that there is reason to think that people are going to be playing more than one body, especially if they play like memory deniers to try and stop you from doing your Machinedramon memory gain. So really good card. And if they delete any of your black Digimon, so your Chikuris, if they swing and die, you can Pagu and Izzy. You can do whatever you want. Oh no, it's opponent's turn. So if they swing and kill it, yeah. So, but anyways, very good card. And then we still run 2 black memory boosts.
Great card. Glad you really like the memory boost.
I do. I think that 2 of is the right number for it because you do want to search out. You don't want it to clog your hand, but it's really good at finding. It's basically you're using it to find your level 6s. You're trying to find your chaoses in your machine. And then this card, I still can't find a reason to take it out. I love it too much. It saved my butt so many times. That final Zubagon punch, solid card. Especially you can use it on your Omnimons. The Zwarts, spoiler alert, when they come out of security, they are 13k.
Yep.
So that is the magic number. So as long as you have a black source, i.e. your Pagumon on board, you can play a Zubagon punch, turn it into a 16k, blocker, reboot, scary attack +1.
That's pretty good.
Really
pretty
cool.
nasty.
Very nasty. And then we still run the one of Attack the Heavy Mobile Digimon.
Card.
Still love this card.
So many times with that.
Yeah, it's a finisher, and this deck does draw a lot. So I don't think you need to run more than one. I don't think it's a very good security bomb because you do have to typically get rid of one of your main pieces for it to be something super useful. But like everything is bigger than 12, like Black War Gray, all that stuff. They're all like 13, 14. So that's the deck. I know you're gonna be like, where's the new machine, right? I don't think it's viable in this format. I've seen the Digivolving versions of this deck, and I do think it is better in those. The only thing that I think it's really good with in this format is the Attack of the Heavy Mobile Digimon, because I believe it plays for 11, so you can play it regardless. Like now, if your opponent does not set you to 12, you cannot attack, or set you to 2, you can't spend 12 and attack the Heavy Mobile with any of your Digimon. So that's it, guys. We have another update for this coming in the next format when we get the Chaosdramon X antibody, which I can't wait for. But that's it, guys. This is the one I'm going to be playing with for this format. I've already been having a ton of fun with it, and feel free to chime in the comments, like, comment, subscribe, and tell us what you think. We'll see you next time.